BMW's boxer engine moved Super Tourer, the RT series, got a new version for this year because it got the new ShiftCam, so variable valve boxer engine, which is a partially liquid cooled one, and we would like to introduce you the whole model because it's really a unique touring motorbike in the world. The silhouette of the new RT is the same as it was in the previous model, which was still moved with a 1200 cubic centimeter liquid cooled boxer engine. This new engine is much more powerful, of course, but we will speak about it later. The whole bike is a very massive and very demonstrative, really monumental thing. The whole length of it, without this huge rear box, so only until the rear mudguard, is a magic number. 2222 millimeters. But not only this is the important thing, but all the other sizes are all very massive and big. So for example, this whole front part, the front LED headlights, the mirrors itself, the windshield and everything is really huge and big on the whole bike. And the only thing which is a little bit smaller than you would expect is the wheelbase, because it's only 1485 millimeters, and this is one of the reasons why the whole BMW R1250RT is a really very easily maneuverable and so much easier rideable and drivable motorbike than you think for the first sight. And this is the reason why this is the most often used police motorbike around the whole world. The most important new part of the 2019 model year's RT is the ShiftCam boxer engine itself. We already showed it to you what it knows in the review of the R1250 GS Adventure, so you can see the acceleration there, but a few words about it. So the most important part is not the numbers. It knows 136 PS and 143 Newton meter torque, but these numbers are not really showing the knowledge of it. The most important thing is that when you are just normally cruising and all of a sudden, without gearing down, you just pull the throttle and want a really huge and big acceleration, then the engine within tenths of a second changes the whole valving system, and then the bike really gets much more fuel and starts really aggressively from any kind of RPM. This is the most important thing of it, and as I was working with the motorbike on an airport a few days ago, I made a short video for you with the acceleration from 100 to 200 kilometers per hour. Of course, that is not the top speed. The top speed is somewhere around 235-36 with its own speedometer. But just check out that in 6 speeds, so without using high RPM, how it jumps up from 100 to 200. As I mentioned earlier, the big RT is not a very light motorbike, because the ready-to-ride weight of it is nearly 280 kilos, but to put it up on its central stand, it's such an easy movement because the construction is good. I didn't need any real power. And if once it is on the central stand, then let's check out the seat position, because it's really absolutely the best for even long distance touring. In the downer part you have a relatively sporty leg position, but absolutely comfortable. You can keep yourself on the fuel tank very easily and perfectly. You have a very good leg contact, and the handlebars are positioned on a way that it's totally comfortable with loosen and very light hands for every rider, even if you are high or even if you are short. And you don't have to fight with the elements because the windshield is protecting you among every kind of circumstance. We will check it while riding with the bike. really important part of the big RT touring BMWs is the telelever front suspension. Of course, all the big BMW Boxer Tourers got the same. So the GS models also. Let's speak a few words about what is here under the big plastic parts. We have two telescopic forks, but they are really thin things, 37 millimeters diameter all in all, so good for nothing. But these are not making the suspension work at all. They are just leading the whole system how to work, because here in the middle of the downer bridge you can find a moving element, and there is a triangle which is connecting this part with the engine itself, and this triangle is moving up and down when the wheel is moving. And the suspension element itself is it's a central unit, just as in the rear section of the motorbike here, and it's somewhere under the fuel tank, so very much rear from the rear positioned from the wheel itself. And as the upper part of these two telescopic forks are flexible, that's why when the wheel is moving up and down, then these two telescopic forks are moving to the front and to the rear, and this whole working system is resulting that the wheelbase of the motorbike is not changing when the suspension is working. So that's why when you are in a curve and you have road mistakes or make a braking, then the behavior of the whole motorbike is much more neutral than with any kind of motorbike with normal telescopic forks. In the rear section, it's not a typical rear suspension again what we can see. It's called Evopower lever, which is of course not a new thing. It's working for several years in the BMW big touring models. It's a light metal shift house, and it is the whole rear suspension itself, and the wheel is fixed on it only from one side. The suspension element is connected to this part, and what is really important that it has a rotating part in the rear which can move up and down, and it is working just like as the whole shift drive would be 4 meters long, so it doesn't have any kind of typical shift reactions, working just like then the big let's say drag bikes, which have a very long rear section. Of course it is a short rear section, but working absolutely proper. When you make hard accelerations you have no shift reaction at all. The R1250RT has lots and lots of comfort and safety innovations which are really absolutely unique in the motorbike industry. For example, really just examples. For example, the whole suspension is not changing only the parameters while riding, but for example even the preload when we get the passenger on board, so he or she is jumping on the rear seat, then the preload of the whole suspension is automatically changing to the higher weight, and the bike is going to ride perfectly also with that. And for example, again only examples for the safety side. The bike has a cornering ABS as a standard equipment, and for example the dynamic traction control, so the traction control in the bike is not only working on a way that it cuts the engine power when the rear wheel spins, but it changes the torque on that level what the rear wheel can transfer to the ground. So for example, even on gravel road we can really have good acceleration with this absolutely asphalt tire. So all in all, the R1250RT is the same as all of the previous RT models were, an absolutely perfect traveling motorbike. It has more than enough power with the new ShiftCam engine, and it has a very logical infotainment system. Although the dashboard is not a new thing, but it knows everything, and it's very simple to work with it, because you have only one button on behind your left thumb and this eye ring on the left handlebar, and with these two things you can make everything on the dashboard. The whole bike is acting very good in the curves. It's extremely easy to make, for example, a U-turn with it. On a normal two-lane road you do not even need the two lanes, honestly. It's so easy with this big flagship. And in the dashboard you can change all the parameters of the whole menu system with this one button. So you can change the dynamic as a basic map. If you would like to road with a dynamic map or a road map, which is a little bit more, let's say, comfortable. Of course, the whole dynamic as is always working as the environment and the road itself is needing, but you can change all the computer data here. You can change the trip data, your handle heat, your seat heating, because of course you have that, the audio settings, as the bike has an audio system as well. So you can change every parameter very simply with your left hand. Of course, the bike is working extremely easily drivable or rideable in the curves as well, so it's absolutely neutral, just like a dream. Even if you are traveling on a highway or even if you are traveling on a curvy road, it's very good. And not only these parts and these things are very good with the bike, but the wind protection as well, because the big windshield is movable in more than 16 centimeters up and down. So really, for every rider hates, it guarantees a totally good and absolutely silent wind protection with the bike. Perfect for traveling, really. The rider seat of the BMW RT is changeable within 2 centimeters. The seat is heated, as this wire is showing it, and if you change the position of this metal element, then you can put down the seat with 2 centimeters lower or higher position. This is the higher position of the basic seat, but you can buy for the motorbike lower seat and the higher seat as well, and all of these seats are fixable in 2 different positions. So all in all we have 6 available rider seat heights, and the shorter and the higher position of it is 760 millimeters up to 850 millimeters, so it's really a huge amount of changeability. The passenger seat is has only 1 position, but it's a very big seat and absolutely comfortable for the passenger, especially with this backrest on the top case. And if once we mentioned the backrest of the passenger, then let's speak a few words about the boxes and all the places in the motorbike, which is very important that we have a central lock. You can close it with a button on the right handlebar, and then everything, this part, the boxes and everything are closed. And when I open it, then everything is opening all together. For example, here in the front part we have a place for connecting your MP3 or mobile phone or anything, and then you can listen to your own music by Bluetooth in your helmet very easily, but you can listen to the radio as well, as the bike has a whole entertaining center as well. But let's speak about the boxes, because these are now more important. If I only push the button once, then I pull up this part and the side boxes are opening. You can buy inner bags, and then you don't have to remove the whole box, only you carry this bag up to your hotel room. But if you don't buy it, then removing the box itself is also very easy. It's only one movement with the key, then this upper part is opening, and only this movement and the whole box is down, and you can easily carry up to your hotel room. Putting it back, it's also only one movement. You put the 2 upper parts to its place, then the downer fixing part is automatically on its place. You only have to push it down, close it, and everything is fixed and in its place. And finally, let's speak a few words about the rear top case. This rear top case has, for example, a brake light as well built in itself, but not this is the most important part of it. You can open it very easily, and if you do it, then you can see that two telescopes are lifting up the upper part of it, and it has a really nice LED light in itself. So it's absolutely nice. You have a BMW Motorrad inner bag if you buy it, but if you don't buy it, then this top case without it, it's also really huge, and all the parts of it, so the side, the walls of it, the downer part, everything as they are made, it's really a totally premium quality thing. The removability of it is a little bit more complicated than the side cases, because with this big button it's really easy to remove the box itself, but because of the brake light and the central lock, it's fixed with the cable to the motorbike under the passenger seat. So first you have to remove the passenger seat, then remove the plug, and then you can remove the top case. So I think this top case is not going to be removed too often by the owners. Of course, if once you buy a beautiful top case like this for your RT, then I don't think you are going to remove it too often. You don't even need it. If we check the front part of the RT, we can see that these beautiful angel eyes are really looking extremely great around the lights, but it's interesting that the lights itself, so the normal light and the high beam in the center as well, are still not LED system. They are absolutely normal bulb technology. Only the indicator and the extra light down are made with LED technology, but I think that for next year or maybe a few years BMW is going to come out with LED headlights for the RT model, just as for example in this model the connected totally digital dashboard and very important thing which are already existing on the big GS models, for example, still not available for the RT, but within a very short time I'm sure it's going to come, because BMW is never stopping developing its bikes. All in all, the new BMW R1250RT is just the same motorbike as the R and T letters are meaning for several decades in BMW Motorrad, let's say, model range. It's an absolutely perfect touring motorbike. It knows everything what is necessary for riding on paved roads. Very good for even inside the city, very good for long distances, very good for riding with the passenger, knows everything what is necessary for a tourer, a motorbike tourer. With this new ShiftCam boxer engine, it's even much more powerful than the previous model was, not only on the language of the numbers, but what the feeling, what kind of feelings the rider has while, for example, making an acceleration. This is a different word. At the moment, I think that this is the king of the touring motorbikes around the whole world, or very close to being the king. Of course, all the rivals are going to make huge developments in the next years, and within a few years they are going to be on the same level where BMW is now with this RT model. But for that time BMW's engineers are going to develop new models, because they are always leading their own classes. At the moment in 2019, the riders who can buy this absolutely premium touring motorbike will be the most satisfied riders in the world, I'm absolutely sure. If you liked our video, please push a thumb up. You can find the link where you can donate our work under the review. If you do it, then we send all of our films to you directly before their publicity. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe for our channel and watch our previous films as well. Thank you very much for your attention and watching our review.